Hello.
Hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? It's Harry Mario here at Speedy Feet, and we are we're live.
Yeah.
Which is good fun. I hope you all are doing okay. How you doing, Mario? You
Good. I was had some issues trying to set up the live stream. Couldn't get it to work, and I think the internet might be a little bit dodgy. So you may see us now. Next second we might be gone. Internet is going between good and marginal. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah. So we're here. We're going to talk about some of the riding we've been doing recently. What sort of stuff have we been up to, Mario?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we had a new massive wheel in the house that we've been testing a little bit, and we need to do like a proper test, and also see the minimum range that Ian will get on that wheel. But basically, we have the Abrams, so we've been.
It's actually literally is right there, just off camera.
Just off camera, yeah. Because we've been going through some of the top screen. What's like the coolest feature that on the top screen that you think
the coolest feature? I don't know. It's quite fun being able to adjust like the I can't remember the exact name of the setting, but like the kind of standard like tilt, so you can keep pressing, and the wheel just like slowly does this, and you keep pressing, then it kind of does this again. That was quite fun. But what's funny is that like for some reason the display just doesn't like. Doesn't feature like complete letters. It's just you're looking at the display and it's saying something, but like it's the kind of thing like it will have like I don't know, say like text menu or something. Well, like the top part of the M and the E will be missing, so it just looks like 3 lines and then a line and a line at the bottom, and it's like, what is this trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Which is a bit strange, but we kind of
like
you figure it out.
Morse code.
It is a little bit, and you just end up kind of like pressing buttons, trying to figure out like, well, what is it that this is actually going to do? But yeah, we did it and we filmed it, so that video will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is the Abrams, and it is a bit of a beast. Would you say that's the largest wheel that I've gone on? Or is the yeah?
Well, it depends on largest, because the EX20S is quite a large wheel as well.
This felt bigger riding it. I think. It felt wider actually, but maybe to be fair, I've not gone on one and then gone on the other and then compared.
Yeah.
But there we go. So we've been looking at the Abrams. We've also done a range test for the V12 high torque, which is good fun. Went out into the woods.
Yeah. Mostly off-road riding.
Nice sunny day. I was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
To begin with.
So the range between Ian and Harry is like double. Almost.
Literally. What's funny actually is that the range that it says on the box that the wheel will get is 96 miles, I think.
Yeah.
And then the range that I got was 51, and then the range that Ian got was like 26.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So it's almost like Ian got a quarter of what they said. I got a half.
Oh, this is spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. Spoilers. Well, so the video is going to be coming out, so you get to see all of that soon. But yeah, I think that that range test that we did was probably the most kind of, I don't know, like it felt like the most significant kind of riding that I've done in terms of like just the length, because we were obviously going for like hours, and it was quite exhausting. Which is something I wasn't actually expecting, that it would be really exhausting, because you just kind of think, well, you're just kind of standing on a wheel, bending your knees and stuff.
Because people like if you ride long enough, like especially amongst people, and they'll be like, oh, that's cheating, or oh, that's easy, which it's easy in some ways, but if you go for like a massive ride, which actually there's a video coming up soon, it's just we have all the footage, but just need to put it together, where John came to the HQ, and with Ian they went out to do like a massive like a range test challenge, essentially just riding around and around for like all day, doing I think over 200 miles in one day, spread over several wheels. So that's quite challenging, and
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, we did 51 and I was exhausted, but like the idea of doing 200 and I think it was like 206 or something.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. But yeah, so that video is in the works and we'll get it out to you soon. We've actually got a few comments here.
Def is in.
Hey Duff, how's it going? Any concerns with the Abrams with the widespread high-speed cutouts after hitting a bump?
Well, we have it. We have it on the latest software, and that's actually one note because to update the Sherman, you need to have an Android phone, and this for me is a big win because between myself and Ian, we always fight between Apple and iPhone and Android, and Harry's team Apple. Here.
I am team Apple.
So I'm the only Android person in Speedy Feet, so it's a big win for me. Like saying that, "Ha, Ian, I can update the wheel, but you can't because you don't have an Android phone." But anyway, so we've updated it to the latest firmware, and it's up to really Ian is gonna test it to like its full capacity, hopefully in the next week or so, and then he'll report back if he's experienced any issues with it. But so far we haven't had any problems.
Yeah, I think I've been the only one properly riding this. I rode it around town a little bit, and I definitely was not going fast enough to be called high speed. And certainly not fast enough to get high speed and then cutting out after a bump. But there we go. EUC Vibe says Monster Pro versus Master. Have we got a Master?
Not yet. They'll be coming in at some point. I think I'm trying to adjust for the comments. Yeah. So they'll be coming in hopefully in a few months. Because actually today we were talking with Bigot, Gotway, whatever you want to call them, about arranging the shipping. So hopefully I think in a week or so we'll have like a more firm ETA when we'll get them in, and then when we have them in we'll have, because we have so many wheels at the moment, like with the Abrams and the EX20S, and the what was the other big wheel? The Commander, and then having also the Master coming in. So these wheels, there'll be a time where all of them will be here at the same time, so we can like cross test stuff, and obviously we have the Monster Pro. I think we'll be able to like do like some comparison, which is if you guys have any like questions, if you can comment on videos or send like emails to info@speedyfeed.co.uk with like what you want to know and like what comparison you would like to see, and then we'll try and get some videos out.
Yeah. Any news about the KS S22 production and delivery dates?
Well, we're still waiting on that, because I think they finished our batch. I think has finished production, and again we're just I think in the process of trying to arrange shipping. So Ian is overseeing that, so I don't know the specifics on it.
But hopefully soon. Hopefully we'll get them in soon.
Yeah, well, we're expecting them this summer, sometime this probably end of the summer, but we'll see.
Interesting question here from Brian. Will the KS22 be a long-term maintenance headache because of suspension design?
That's a good question, because Ian's done over 1,000 miles on the S20. So I don't think he has any gripes with that in terms of maintenance. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, when you have suspension, that's always like an extra element that can go wrong.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that Kingston already has some experience with the S18, so maybe with the S22 they've thought about things after some like customers' feedback. So it'll be the case where we have to like wait and see how it goes. But I think it should be all right.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I really like the KS22. I really enjoyed riding it. So, yeah, I think if it was one of those wheels that's going to take a lot of like effort maintaining and keeping going, especially if it like breaks and stuff. I don't know. That would just be a bit annoying. That's my technical input into the conversation.
Yeah, well, I think what you find is you would rather have a wheel with suspension than without a suspension.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. And actually, when we took out the V12 high torque on the range test, we were going along, and I was like, it felt like my brain was rattling around on the inside of my head. Like the suspension just makes a massive difference, and I really like missed it when I went on a wheel that didn't have it. So yeah, if it was the difference between having a wheel with or without suspension, I would definitely go with every time. Are you fussed about suspension, or are you not fussed?
Well, I don't really do that much off-roading, and I think I don't particularly mind. Although I think it's a nice thing, but yeah. Because it's when you go over like cobbled, like there's an area where we go off-roading, and it's like a lot of like stones, and it's almost like a cobbled street, and having suspension on that in that area is like sweet. But from like the other off-road trails that I've done, I didn't really mind it as much. So I think it's nice, but for me it's not a must.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think with Ian though, I think because he has some back pain, so for him I think he's becoming a bigger fan of the suspension with his lower back pain.
Although he actually says, Ian comments on the chat saying, I found the KS20 to be my go-to wheel. The only thing for me was the low range when pushed. Yeah, and I suppose that was the case, right? So when you push the KS20, it's just not got the same sort of range. Yeah.
Well, unless if you ride it, you'll double the range of what Ian gets.
Well, that's true, actually.
You can do an all day on it.
As a person who just doesn't push the wheels very hard at all, I think you'll get a much better range. But yeah, I suppose if you want to properly ride it and go quickly, you're just going to be burning through the battery much faster. Which is a problem that I won't be having. So there we go. Yeah, and Ian confirms, back pain defo brought on by the lack of suspension, which is not cool. Not cool at all. Any other questions that we've got here? Are EUC producers using something like Loctite to stop screws from backing out under vibration? I don't know. Do you know that?
Yes, so I think was definitely I've had issues with the Loctite because when I've tried to, it's like with Bigot particularly, there was a really frustrating moment because we had to change the foot plate hangers on a motor, and they've put like Loctite on the nuts that hold the I think like the bearing with the foot plate pillar. And basically, you cannot really take off the footplate pillar. And I found out the hard way after like breaking, just because the nut was twisting. It looked like twisting, but only the top half was twisting, and like the bottom half just would stay in there. So definitely manufacturers use that. But I think that's I guess more of an extreme case, but. I think it's also varies sometimes from unit to unit because I've been working on a lot of V12s, changing driver boards, and you can see how sometimes like they've put like some black strips on the cable, sometimes they don't. So I think it might also vary who is on the assembly line that day.
Interesting. Yeah. I always it is impressive, I think, being able to take the whole thing apart and put it back together. And I suppose if they've not built it to make that easy, then that just adds that extra pain, doesn't it? To the whole thing.
Yeah, in that like the V12 is great if you want to like ride it really high tech, but if you want to like change the driver board, you have to essentially take everything apart to get to it, and then still need to take more things apart to actually change it. Whilst with like the Gotway wheels, like it was basically just remove one side panel, and the board is there. You take the board out, put the new board, and that's it. Then put the side panel, you're done. So it's nice making the wheel like more waterproof and things like that. But then, like the small things like just changing a board can be just takes like hours instead of a few minutes.
Yeah. Mary, do you want to tell the people a little story about our range test? There was a moment where we had to turn and run. Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, this is sadly we couldn't really get footage of this, but when we were out in the forest, I do have footage of this, which you will see on the V12 video of a deer just jumping right in front of Harry as he's just set up like this long shot, and just seeing Harry how he comes towards the camera. And kind of halfway between me and Harry, like there's this deer that just jumped onto the track and then just...
It's a really cool moment. What was funny about it was that like you kind of said like, right, stop here and I'll just go set up down the path, and then I'll give you a shout and you can kind of come along. So I was like just sitting around for probably like 5 or 6 minutes just for you to get to the other side, set up the whatever. And then you call me, and it's literally just at that moment that then the deer jumps out between me and you. And so it's just quite a cool shot of me just going along. And it's almost like I'm coming up a bit of a slope as well, and then this deer jumps out in front, which is a cool little wildlife moment. So that happened, and then we so you literally just turned off the camera for that. We're like, right, we're going to go back downhill now.
We packed up and just went down the same track.
Yeah.
And literally like... I don't know, like 200 meters down the further down, there was like wild boar, like a mama boar and little piglets.
So there's like 3 tiny little ones, probably like this big, and they were like crossing the path.
Yeah.
I actually didn't see the mum, but you were like, oh, you saw it, didn't you?
Yeah, because I saw them, so I know that, because I've heard some really horrible stories about like mama boars, like wild boars, being really protective. So I was like, I don't want to risk it, especially Harry as a new rider. It's like no way we're gonna just stay there. So I was like, okay, Harry, let's go. And as we kind of head back, I just turned around, and then I saw the mum coming out of the bush with I think another. So I think there were maybe 4 or 5 of the little ones. So I was like, I mean, it would been great to like take the shot, but I had to like unpack and like get the camera and do stuff. I was like, I don't want to risk it.
Although Mary didn't sound like that when he said turn around and go. He was like, go, turn around, go. It's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Which is quite funny. But yeah, no, we weren't running away from the deer. We were running away from the wild boar. But yeah, so that was quite of a fun moment. In fact, it was like several moments like back to back, because then I think it wasn't long after that then we then got to the kind of really steep section. It's one of those hills where if you're an off-roader, you start going down, you think, oh, this is fine, don't worry about it or whatever, and then like after you've gone down a little bit, you're like, oh snap, like it's really steep, like it's not like a secure kind of like path. There's like rocks and stones and like dirt and stuff.
Just like you're like instant regret, like where have I gone? Like what have I done?
Yeah, and you can't turn around or whatever. It's just like, look, you just have to just slowly just make your way down this thing. So that wasn't long after the kind of wild boar incident. And Mary, you were ahead of me. I think you know it's one of those things you have to take it by your own speed. So Mary went off, and then I was coming down, and my tire like it kind of went down a little bit of a drop, and then landed on a bit of gravel, skidded a little bit. I kind of lost control, and then kind of was like, right, into the bush I go. I fell into the bush, but the wheel didn't, and kind of like just kept going downhill a bit, fell over, skidded a bit. And you know those moments where you're just like, oh no. I was fine, but like just watching that wheel like skid down the hill was a little bit of it was a bit of a painful moment, I think. And then you've obviously got to, you walk over to it, you get back on it, and I kind of came down and was like, Mary, You missed the worst crash
well,
so far.
I actually, because I went down the end and just waited for Harry. Waited. It's like, oh, something's gone wrong. So then I started going back up the steep. It was because it's like a steep downhill, but also because of the rain, there was like some really deep like grooves as well. So I just started going back up, and then like met him halfway. And it's like, oh, he's alive. That's good.
Yeah, I didn't die.
And then I was like, okay, Harry, you go at the front, and I'll be at the back so I can watch over you. And then capture another crash.
Yeah, there was a few crashes. So because you were on the Commander for that, weren't you? And I was in the V12 High Torque. So we went all the way down the hill, and then we went and turned and to go back up it. And it's quite steep. We were kind of trying to pace it a bit, trying to obviously get the battery down. And then your Commander started beeping, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was
it was. I think I was going too slow to properly cool it down, so it got a little bit hot. So I had to give it a minute rest, and then after that it was all good.
What I found funny was obviously so your wheel had the fan on, like you could really hear the fan trying to cool it down, and I think it said that it was at like 70 degrees or something, which is when I had to switch off. But mine almost like didn't have any fan, or you couldn't hear it, and it was still at like 45 or something. Or maybe 50, which is just one of those things. It's kind of like why was the V12 High Torque like that much better?
Well, I think because being high torque, like you get more, like more
the motor's designed
motor
for
is
it.
more powerful in a way, and then that's able to give you uphill, no problem. Plus, I think you weigh less than me as well. That also is a factor in. So the wheel has to work less hard.
Possibly. We should try the hill and swap the wheels and see what that one's like. Yeah, yeah. It's funny actually that little range test is kind of like, having not done a distance like that before. It kind of got me. I don't know. I feel like I settled into it a little bit towards the end, and I was kind of like, like I can see why. Obviously, because I'm quite new to it, like I can see why people love to go and do this.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually. Ian looks like he's asked on the chat, e-bike or EUC, because I'm a bit of a biker, so like I'm a road cyclist a bit, and I do quite enjoy mountain biking. And at the start, I think when I was getting used to using the unicycles, I was kind of like how does this compare to using an e-bike? And like, actually, do I prefer it more or less, whatever? And I think actually the reflection on that long range test was that it's not like a more or less thing, because they are obviously different. And obviously, if you're using like a mountain bike to get up a long hill, you get that sense of like reward that you obviously don't get so much on a unicycle, because you've just kind of glided up it. But then being able to glide up it, kind of like, it felt like you're just kind of cruising along a bit, and you can kind of enjoy the scenery a little bit more than maybe you can on a bike, when you're kind of having to constantly put that effort in.
Yeah.
So kind of essentially what I'm saying is like, towards the end of that range test, I was like, I can definitely see why people just want to jump on that wheel and just head out for a good few hours just to like enjoy it. And I think I was getting to that point towards the end of the range test, definitely, which is fun. So, yeah, that was my reflections on that one. Yeah.
What do people say in the chat?
So we've got a conversation going on about the Loctite with heat. Roland's talking about that. So, yeah. The high torque does less work, so they don't overheat easily compared to the high speed version. I'd be interested to hear if anyone else has got like experiences like ours with the kind of deer moment, or even with the wild boar moment. Who was it that said above? Roland, I don't know. You said that's the UK for you. I don't know, Roland, if you off in the UK or if you're elsewhere. I'd be interested to hear if people have got stories of running away from like coyotes or something like that. That could be quite interesting. But yeah, wild boar is definitely the most wild thing you're most likely to get in the UK. Yeah,
because especially where we are. I think that's the...
True.
Because, I mean, there's like a lot of people do off-roading, but it's I think because there's like some truck, so if you go on a truck, you're less likely to like I guess encounter the wildlife because it's more of because it's already like set up and there's like a lot of people also around that
Yeah, sure.
truck.
It's like a footpath sort of thing. Yeah.
Whilst like really what when we went out to like range test it, it was like really just picking just random spots in the forest and like looping around. And we
Trails,
were
really. Yeah.
yeah, and we were like really the only people there.
Yeah, so it felt like we were a little bit wild.
Yeah.
Like we were kind of out of the way a lot for those moments, which maybe I suppose you wouldn't get if you were just kind of hopped on and got out of town. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would definitely be interested to hear if anyone's got any kind of stories similar. That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think going back to the Abrams, because that's I think yeah probably the biggest wood that you've been on, and would you how did you find that the size?
The size of it, big. Definitely needing the pads. We talked about that in the video that will be coming out soon. Without the pads, you're just sliding around. Like your knees are literally just sliding on the thing and trying to like brake and accelerate. It's just so difficult. And then like when you put the pads on, it just makes a world of difference. Yeah. And actually the Abrams has got like settings to adjust the kind of style of riding, and we put it on. I think at the start it was on strong, and then we put it on soft.
Yeah.
And when it's on soft, it feels like it's a little. It just glides a bit more, and it's a little bit more. What was the word that you used to describe it?
Like jello-y.
Jello-y, yeah, kind of a bit, kind of like you can move it a bit more fluid.
Yeah.
And you definitely felt that. So like, trying to get around some tight corners and stuff with it on strong mode, you had to almost be strong. Like it felt like you had to like properly lean, properly like push it around a bit. But actually, when you changed the setting, it just became a lot easier, which is really nice actually. It actually surprised me how much the software can make a difference to the way that it rides, which I kind of found I found it quite interesting, and I wondered actually like whether, and maybe you'll know this, to like do other wheels have that kind of ability to adjust those settings?
I mean, I think almost every wheel has some sort of an adjustment. Often, like it will be, because you have like a lot of safety stuff with like the beeping and like the tilt back, which is your standard thing. But then you have, like, because you can change how it levels. Because sometimes, like, we've had like wheels that were like instead of like being flat, they're like pointing down or pointing up, and then like in that case you can adjust, like make it level them up or make them level, but then some people like to, because then you can slightly adjust that, and like within motion you can adjust like how sensitive the foot plates are.
Oh, that's helpful, yeah.
So if you want them like less sensitive or more sensitive, then you can play with that and then see how it what works for you. But considering that the Abrams doesn't really have a proper app, you're just like editing from the very basic screen. It has, I think, a good amount of customization.
Nice. We got a couple comments there about the wild moments. Roland says maybe a badger in the UK. Yeah, I wouldn't want to run into a badger. Would definitely be going away from that. But that's a really good point about most scary moments happen in traffic. Have you ever had a scary traffic moment?
Yeah, well, I've crashed twice.
You've crashed twice?
Yeah.
On the roads?
On the road, yeah.
How did that go?
Well, I mean, it was fine in the end, but it was not great at the time. But like in the grand scheme of things, like no one really got hurt. So that was good.
Yeah. And then Duff says had to outrun dogs, but ridden past 100 alligators over the years. So
Duff, are you in Florida? Because I know there are a lot of alligators in Florida.
Or somewhere else, or Australia or somewhere. I saw a hilarious video the other day of this alligator in someone's garden, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen here? And this old guy comes out of the house with a frying pan, and he just walks up to the alligator and just goes like bong on the alligator's nose, because the alligator like runs from trying to get him, and he just goes bang, hits it, and then like hits it again, and then it just like legs it, and I was like, what? The kind of courage needed to just like just grab a frying pan, bosh. She really made me laugh. So Duff's in South Florida. So maybe Duff, if you're riding, bring a frying pan.
Yeah.
Just in case.
The power of the frying pan.
Yeah, funny. Outrunning dogs could be interesting as well. Like I suppose if it's just like a pet dog, it's kind of like just got to get away. But like it's kind of wild.
Yeah, well, I think it depends what will you have, and then because like a dog like Bruce, I think will be, if you have like an M10-3, I think you will struggle to.
Yeah, that's true.
Initially, to outrun Bruce.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the M10, but outrunning dogs on it is probably a low possibility of doing that. So, yeah, if you had the Abrams, I think you'd be probably fine.
Yeah.
South Florida's says stuff.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I think if you have any final questions, because we need to head off soon, because it's 5 o'clock. So taking some final questions.
Roland says, Australia running from the kangaroos instead of the wolves. Interesting. I'd be interested to see what riding with a kangaroo next to you was like. That must be an interesting vibe. And then EUC chasing pavements. I ride around Cannock Chase, and you do come across the odd adder now and again. Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of snakes, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I prefer a wild boar over an adder personally. Although an adder is nothing compared to some of the stuff you might get in South Florida or Australia.
Yeah.
So
We're kind of blessed in the UK with not so much dangerous animals.
No, the UK got rid of all of our dangerous animals a long time ago. Yeah, hedgehog and fox in the UK, Optimus Prime says.
I mean, there is like where we live, there's like foxes on like High Street and in town. Like I see them almost like every other night.
Yeah, don't step on a snake. Although I imagine running one over might be alright. But we don't.
I think if you're quick.
We are obviously not condoning just going on a snake hunt with a unicycle. It's really interesting actually hearing where everyone's from and some of their experiences. I think you're definitely right. We're quite blessed, I suppose, in the UK to not have. Or maybe you might think actually no, you like having all the.
It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
I would rather be like on the edge of life, like. If I leave my shoes outside the house, and then it might be like a poisonous tarantula walking there, like in Australia.
Constant threat of danger somewhere else. Here it's just safe and nice and all good. And then there's the infamous nail, worst foe of them all. Yes. Yeah. You haven't had a puncture. I've not had a puncture.
That's the thing, because that's annoying. When you have to like take apart a wheel to like change the inner tube.
I've done that on a bike many times. Many times I've had to fix a puncture on a bike. It's a lot bigger and a lot more faff using a proper wheel with that. So no, all good. I will be avoiding the nails as much as possible. Isn't the most dangerous thing to do to ride next to the one and only
Jonathan Water? Yeah, because have you met him actually?
I've met John, yeah. So when Ian and John went and did their mega ride, which is coming up, we're going to release that soon. I met him then because we got a few shots of them and they went past. But I've heard that
the stories.
Dangerous times riding with John, which is funny. So okay, lovely.
I think we can call it a show.
Good to drop in.
Yeah, thank you guys for being part of the conversation. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments down below. And we'll try, and next time we're live might not be I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after that, but we'll try and be live as if we can, because like last Wednesday we were trying to chase John and Ian on their wheels and then get some shots of them. So we'll see if we can. We'll definitely try and be live.
We'll be back. Just we'll have to find out when.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. It's been good fun.
Yeah.
So
see you
later.
Bye.